Alright guys, so here it is, the Tang W8-2096. Now I know you guys have been watching the channel and you saw that I received a bunch of different Tang products, and I even did a video about Tang exclusively and my thoughts just kind of on their brand. Today I want to do a video just on this, which is an 8-inch mid-bass driver. This is the W8-2096. Now this thing really is massive. It is heavy and it is huge.
That's what she said.
Wow. Yep, that just happened. So, just to give you kind of a size comparison, seems like a poor choice of words now, but to give you a size comparison, this is the GRS 8-inch. Now, this is just a normal replacement size woofer, so something like you'd have in like a small bookshelf speaker, or maybe like a tower speaker that has an 8-inch driver, maybe one of those old three-way style speakers. You'd have a driver that looks about this size. Now if you take a look at it, you can see that the W8 is substantially bigger. In fact, this thing is heavy. You could literally lift weights with this. In fact, I caught my wife actually doing weights with these at times, and it's pretty amazing. I mean, this thing weighs close to 17 pounds if memory serves me correctly, and that's massive. And a lot of it's due to this underhung design with this huge magnet. Now this magnet and this design was designed for bass. And that's important for us to realize when we call this a mid-bass driver. This really does get low, and it can do it in a relatively decent sized box. In fact, I'm building a speaker right now called the Uglies that are going to have two of these in each speaker. Now it'll be a TMM, so a tweeter plus two mids, and the tweeter is going to be the Peerless Corundum tweeter that you've already seen on the channel, and it's going to consist of two of these. Now, the amazing thing is that with both of these in there, you can run these with just a 4-inch port, which is fantastic. Now, I would flare it, but a 4-inch port nonetheless, which is just great news to be able to run these with something like that, because you don't have to worry about a big size port. So let me tell you a little bit about these. These do produce tremendous bass, and that's really what they're for. In fact, these things have 8.5 millimeters of X-Max, which is literally subwoofer size potential bass output, and they go low. I've port tuned these to around 35 hertz on the Uglies, and they do a tremendous job getting low. In fact, the way that I've designed the Uglies, they're actually not going to, you probably wouldn't need a subwoofer with them, let's put it that way. I put these in a room that traditionally bass just dies in, and you guys know what I'm talking about. If you've been testing speakers for a while, you have some rooms where you just put it in, you said, where did the bass go? And you have other rooms where you put it in and you say, holy cow, that's a lot of bass. My living room's kind of like that. It gives me a tremendous amount of bass, where, you know, my testing area, the bass just dies. And I will say just one of these towers hooked up was producing tremendous amounts of bass, and it was really exciting to hear, and it was clean and it was tight. I can't wait to actually get that out to you. That's going to be coming up very soon, and I'll talk a little bit more about the Uglies and kind of go over the details about that. But right now I really want to just focus on these W8 drivers, because these things I think are pretty impressive. So let me kind of tell you a little bit about what they did on this W8, some of the things I like and some of the things I don't like. Now, you're going to see the response say it goes to 5,000 hertz, fairly flat. My test didn't quite give me that. I mean, I can see why they say that, but it's not. First of all, you're not going to be crossing over an 8-inch woofer at 5,000 hertz anyway, because you're going to have issues with beaming. You're going to be crossing it over much sooner. I noticed that this would be much closer to about 1,500 to 1,300 hertz for a good crossover point with this particular driver, which is going to fit its off-axis response much better anyway when you're doing like just a normal TM type setup. So don't expect this to give you like really high frequency range. It's not going to do that. If you can get a tweeter like the Peerless Corundum, or even the Dayton Audio reference series, maybe even the Wavecore, all of those can actually cross over fairly low. So you could use something like that with this for like a TM setup. Now these are relatively 4 ohm drivers, and so if you put two of these, of course, in series, you'll get 8 ohm, 2 ohm parallel, you'll have 2 ohm, or one by itself is actually a 4 ohm impedance. Now, the one thing that I found quite surprising was the material that this is made out of. Now, this is made very well. I mean, you can just tell looking at it, it's made really well, but I was a little disappointed because this is actually like a plastic polymer. This is not a metal. Now, it's very thick. I mean, it's about 0.3 inches. Very, very thick stuff. But having said that, it is still a plastic polymer, which does make me concerned about, you know, the longevity of the driver, or at least the frame. You know, will that hold up? I don't know. It does seem very, very well made. It's definitely not cheap feeling. In fact, it feels very, very nice. I just kind of wish it was metal of some kind. I think for the price that you're paying, which is about $120 per driver, I would like to see a metal basket on it. Having said that, after hearing them, I really like them. So I, you know, pick and choose, I guess. And I do think that with this size magnet and everything that's on here, I think if you were to put a metal frame on there, it probably would increase the price. I'm not sure that people would pay a lot more for this. So if that's where they had to go to cut corners, I don't know that it's a bad compromise, especially with the quality of the type of material this is. Now, you will notice that it is a paper cone. It has almost like an aluminum cone look to it. Now, don't get me wrong, it's not an aluminum cone. It's not shiny like the aluminum cone, but it's a really nice, soft, smooth surface, which I really do enjoy. The connections on them are also really well done, and it is a vented pole. So keep that in mind. You do want to keep that clear from obstruction when you put this inside a box. My initial impressions of this is really good. I have been running these for a while now, and I've been very impressed. And I mentioned that these do really quite a bit of power handling for each one. That's important to note, because where I see these, especially with the bass response and power handling, is I see these in home theater style tower speakers. Not that you couldn't use them for music, I just think that the way that they're designed and the beefiness of the motor structure, and of course your excursion that you're getting from this, you would be wise to use something like this in a home theater tower speaker. In fact, the Uglies that I'm building is designed specifically for people that want a home theater tower speaker that can also produce bass. And one thing I will note for too is I'm using 3/4 inch material when I build these and when I tested these. And this was the first driver like mid-bass driver, not subwoofer, that I seriously considered using T-nuts on. I mean, it's that heavy. I went ahead and did a double front baffle. That's almost 1.5 inches. In fact, you could use like a nice butcher block countertop for the front of the speakers if you really wanted to with this type of speaker. It is really heavy, guys, and it is really beefy. Really the only dislike that I had about it is, like I said, the frame. But otherwise, I actually really like these W8s. And if you're considering building some type of theater style project, I think these would be really good. I personally love these. I'm pairing them with the Peerless Corundum. I've listened to them, and they sound really, really good. All right, guys, if you have any questions about these W8s, let me know. I did pick these up, of course, from Parts Express. Now, there's a link down in the description below for you to learn more about these products. And, of course, there's going to be purchase links down there if you're interested in buying them. And then, of course, when the Uglies come out, I'll go ahead and do some more information on these. Now, some of you guys have noticed that I've been doing a lot of reviews on speakers. And one of them that I'm coming out with soon is a speaker with double sum. I'm coming out with the SO 5.5 and the SO 7, which will also be using those Peerless Corundum tweeters, and will be using Dayton esoteric drivers. Now, these drivers are really nice, especially that 5.5 inch. I really, really like them. And for those of you who've been watching the channel, you know that I opened a website recently called Toid's DIY Audio. It's a website and a forum as well as a shop. Now, because of that grand opening, I'm going to be giving away a pair of the SO 5.5. So if you've been interested in the esoteric 5.5s and you want to give them a listen to, take a look at the forum page. Go ahead and register. There will be more information on that in the coming weeks. Also, don't forget to keep an eye out on Parts Express website. Once again, Parts Express is the manufacturer and supplier of those esoteric drivers, and they provided them to me. So make sure that you're also liking their stuff, watching their YouTube channels, liking their videos, and of course, following them on Twitter. All right, guys, if you have any questions, any comments, any concerns, you know what to do, and you know that I try my hardest to answer those for you. All right, guys, it's 123 Toid, and I'm out.